everyone, welcome to Art Club. I'm Miss Liz and today we are going to be creating a Poké Ball. Guess who's inside? Squirtle! So here's one version that I have, and then I made another one. Open that up. And there we go. Pretty cute. Alright, let's see what's inside your kit. So you're going to have 2 paper plates, some paper to draw on. I put several sheets in there so you can actually practice a little bit. I had to practice a lot to try to learn how to draw Squirtle. So some of you probably have already drawn Squirtle, but I had never done it before, so I needed to practice. You're going to have a small sheet of white construction paper, red construction paper, and a piece of black construction paper. You're also going to have a glue stick and this little thing right here. This is called a brad, and that is what allows us to have our Poké Ball swivel like that. Okay? So, some things that you'll need from home are a ruler, a pencil, some scissors, and some crayons. This Squirtle, he was made with just basic colors from your regular little box of crayons. This I did use yellow and I put some brown in there, and then I outlined it with a black marker. And then this one I used special crayons from one of those big kits, and I used olive and a lighter blue. So this is a fun project that you can do using any colors, any shades that you like. You can use markers, you can use crayons. It's just a lot of fun. So you also might I got this little piece of Tupperware to cut out my circle for that, because for some reason I just could not draw a circle when I was making those samples. So I got this and I traced the outside for the big part of the black, and then I did the inside for the white, and it turned out like that. So if you're not feeling those circles today, go ahead and grab something that you think looks to be the right size. Alright, so in just a minute we're going to start drawing our Squirtle, but I want to show you some of the Squirtles that I drew while I was practicing for this project. So this is the first one I made. And then this was the second one. And this was the third one. And then, of course, the samples that I had. Alright, I'm all set, ready to start drawing. I have a tablecloth on my table, so I'm going to lay my paper pad on here so I have a little bit of a firmer surface to draw. You can do that, or you can just have it laying on your table. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start by drawing a circle for the head, and we're going to put it a little bit over towards the left side of the paper, not quite in the middle, and that way we'll have room for the tail over here. This can be your practice Squirtle, or it may turn out to be the one that you want in your Poké Ball. So let's give it a go. I'm just going to take my time and I'm going to go around and make that circle. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start on the eyes. Now Squirtle has some pretty big eyes. So we're going to go not quite in the middle here, just a little bit lower, and we're going to draw some little curved lines. And that's where the eyes are going to be. Next, we're going to draw kind of an oval shape, upside down U maybe, like that. I'll try to get them the same size. And there we go. Alright. Next up, we're going to draw a line from here to here. It's going to be a little bit of a curve. Like that. And we're going to work on the pupil of the eye. We'll draw an oval in here. And another one in here. And then lastly, we're going to do another U-shape little curve right here. So it doesn't really look too much like eyes, but we're going to color in this section here with our pencil. You don't have to do it real hard, just give it a color in. You might want to come back later and color it in with a black pencil, or a black pencil, with a black crayon. I know when I made the samples, I thought this doesn't really look like Squirtle, but once I got all the crayon on there and got it all filled in, it really looked good. Let's go ahead and add some eyebrows. Now you can add a straight line, or it can be a little bit of a curve, and you're going to start towards the edge of the eye here. Just some little lines. There we go. And we'll go on and do his mouth. So the mouth is a little tricky. So you're going to find a spot down here in between the eyes, not too close to the bottom, maybe in between the eye and the bottom, and you're just going to put a little dot. And then we're going to take our pencil and we're going to draw up and down and around. So we're going to go up, down, and around. And then we're going to copy that and do it on the other side. Sometimes that's a little tricky. So now we're going to do the bottom, but we're not going to start here where we ended. We're going to go in a little bit, like right here and right here, and we're going to draw that bottom. Okay? The next up is making that tongue, and we're just going to draw a curved line here and a curved line there. So my mouth looks a little bit crooked. I'm going to see what kind of eraser I've got on here. And I'm going to see, well, not a very good eraser. Let me see if I have another one. It's perfectly fine to leave it. There we go. All right, next up is we're going to draw a kind of a C shape to give that under portion of his belly of his shell, so we know where to start adding our arms and legs. So I'm going to start about right here, and I'm going to do a nice, it almost looks like a C, nice big curve, and just like that. Okay? So we will add our arm up here. Just leave a little bit of space. Come around. And then put these little nubbies in here. Wrong pen. So these little nubbies are his fingers, his claws, and they're not really like a triangle too much, or not a triangle, like an arrow, I don't know. They're not really like straight line. They're a little bit curved, a little softer on the edges. And then we're going to draw another arm over here before we finish this shell. And we're going to start, let's say about right here. And we're going to do a little line around. And then we're going to come around the other side. We're not going to connect them. And we're going to add more of the fingers. And then we're going to connect here. Next up is we're going to make the legs. So we're going to start about here, and we're going to make another curve. And we're going to start those nubs, and we're going to go in just a little bit. So we're not going to start here, we're going to go in a little bit. And then another one. One more. With a straight line, and then we're going to connect it to the body with a curve like this. And then our other leg, we want to make sure we start it about over here in the same section. And we're going to just draw a curve similar to the one up here. And another curve. And some more of those fingers, toes, claws, whatever you want to call them. And there we go. Next up, we want to work on the rest of the shell. So we're going to start up here, and we're going to give a nice big rounded line. Not too far over here because we want to leave room for the tail. This is going to be the back of the shell. And you want to imagine there's an imaginary line, so these two would be connecting behind that leg. And then we'll add here. Let's go ahead and make those lines on the back shell. We're going to draw a little circle this way. That's going to give it a little dimension. Make sure you draw this line all the way down here, and then we'll go up like that. Now, for his tummy, we are going to go not quite halfway. He's got a pretty big tummy, and we're going to do a curve up like that. And then we're going to go in the middle of this line, and we're going to go down to about here, not all the way. And we're going to start shaping his tummy like this. Right here in the middle, we're going to draw a straight line across. Whoops, I went a little too far on that one. And we're going to do a little diagonal. And now we've got his tummy. Now we need one last thing, and that is the tail. So the tail is going to start down here, and we're going to draw just a swirl. We're going to go up and around and around, just like this. Up and around and around. And then we're going to give that tail some depth, some thickness, and we're going to add in another line right here. Alright, next up we are ready to color. So I'm going to show you my samples one more time. This sample I used a lighter blue, an olive green, some pink, and some magenta, and a different color brown. I had a large box of crayons. I just want to show you, use what you have. Okay, it's perfectly fine to use these regular colors of crayons, which is what most of you are going to have. This is regular blue. I layered some yellow and brown together here, and that almost gave it this olive color that I found in the big crayon box. So go ahead, grab your supplies. They could be markers, they could be crayons, and let's start coloring in our Squirtle. Alright, so now this is where you're going to decide if you want to find a black marker or use your black crayon and outline. So let me show you again. These are my Squirtles that just are colored with a pencil. I think you can see them very well. They look very nice. And this is the one where it's outlined with a marker. So once you make that decision and get that done one way or the other, you're going to start cutting out your Squirtle. Alright, there we go. Next up, you're going to grab one of your paper plates, and we are going to glue Squirtle onto the paper plate. If anything is still sticking up, you can go ahead and glue it down like this. Let's see. I think I got it all. Looks pretty good. Alright, next step is to grab your other paper plate, and we're going to have to cut that in half. So our best way to do that and fastest is to fold it in half and make a crease here, open it back up, and that's where we're going to cut our paper plate. If it's not straight across and it's a little crooked, it's totally fine because they are going to be pieced together to form that Poké Ball. So now go ahead and grab your red piece of paper, and we're going to take one of our half paper plates and we're going to glue the paper on. We want to make sure we glue it on the curved side, the outside. That way when you're putting it together, it's got that curve of a ball. If you do it on the other side, it's going to be flat and come out like this. So take your curved paper plate, put it on your work surface, and just put a bunch of glue on top there. Once that is stuck to the red paper and dried up a little bit, that's when we're going to trim that red paper so it fits perfectly on that paper plate. Keep moving it on there. So sometimes it takes a little while for that to dry. You could put something heavy on it, you stack some books on it, or just keep pressing it until it sticks on there. It's still popping up a little bit, so I'm gonna give it a little bit more. It might also need more glue, and once we get that cut, we'll know for sure. So it looks pretty good now. I'm going to go ahead and cut right along this paper plate line. So it looks like it needs a little bit more glue. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Alright, I'm going to let that dry up a little bit. I'm going to set that off to the side. And now we are going to make this part right here. So go ahead and grab your black construction paper and your ruler. So you can the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw the circle here, and then we're going to add that part. So you're going to want to do it in the middle of this strip, the middle this way and the middle this way. So I'm going to go ahead and just use my little Tupperware thing again. Since it's black paper, you want to press a little bit hard so you can make sure that you see that circle on there. Next up, you are going to take your ruler and you're going to lay it in the middle of that circle. So I've got about the same amount of space here and here. And I am just going to hold that ruler in place, and I'm going to start at the edge of the circle and just draw out on that side as well as this side. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut along here, around the circle, and down the line. Down the line, around the circle. Once we piece it together, we're going to use the side that you can see the pencil on. We're going to put that over so we don't see it. So next up, grab that white piece of construction paper. I'm going to use the other side of my Tupperware. I'm going to use the bottom side to make that inside shape. Go ahead, cut that out. I keep grabbing those big scissors. Get these little ones. Doesn't have to be perfect, because once we put it onto that black piece, we're also going to take the piece with the pencil markings and glue it on so we don't see it. So now what we need to do is we need to make a hole in the center here. So I'm just going to kind of fold it gently, but not with a crease. And I'm going to snip it so I can just kind of go around and make the circle. I'm just trying to keep the same amount of space from this point of my scissor to the outside, and that's what's going to help me keep my circle shape, hopefully. I guess you could trace maybe your glue stick if you want to get that size. I didn't think about that until just now. So this is the side that we have the pencil markings on. So we're going to turn it over, and this is the side with the pencil markings, and we're going to turn that over, and we're just going to glue right there. And I'm just going to glue like this. This glue does glue dry clear, so it's easier and quicker to just do that. So let's go ahead and put this together. I'm going to add some glue along here. Just one width of the glue stick. Back and forth a little bit. Try to get it towards the edge. And then I'm going to put this on. But I want to have it like only halfway on. I don't want to put it over the whole thing. So that way when the Poké Ball is together, it's covering. So if you look here, this is my sample, and you can see that black underneath. So let's go ahead and turn this over and see if this works the best. We'll turn it over to the side we're not using, and we will lay our paper plate about halfway on here. So just like that, and then just press it down. Once that's dry, we'll trim this up, and that section will be done. There we go. See? So when you trim it, you want to look from the back side. There. So now we are ready to assemble. Alright, I've got Squirtle here, and I'm going to try to piece these together. So as you can see, this is going to overlap this part. You can ask a grown-up for help on this one. Sometimes it's a little tricky. I'm going to hold this tight with my thumb and just make sure everything looks a little bit lined up. Alright, so now we want to determine where we want to put that brad that keeps it together. So we're going to have to punch a hole into our paper plate. So you can see here, our paper plates meet about right there. Make sure you're putting the brad in the paper plate on this top piece, not just in this black construction paper. Alright, so I'm going to make a little mark with my pencil right here, and that's where I'm going to poke the hole. Now there's a couple different ways that you can poke the hole. You can use a push pin. You can use, if you have a little tiny hole puncher, you can use that. Most people just have the regular size. So I'm going to try a safety pin. If you have a push pin from maybe a bulletin board or something. So I've got a little hole started right there, and I'm going to see if I can fit that brad in there. Maybe you could try a nail. That's not working. Let's see. Try to make that a little bit wider. Stick my pencil in there a little bit. My nice point. Well, that is more difficult than I thought. So let's take them apart. Let me go find something else I can stick through there. Alright, I'm back. I got this little tiny nail, and I'm just going to stick that through the hole. And that made a bigger hole. And then I'm going to find my hole on here. Push it through. And then again on here. This one's a little harder because it's got that layer of construction paper. Alright. Go ahead, grab that brad again. Got it through this part. Now this part. And this part. Oop. Bent it up a little bit. There we go. So the next thing you're going to do, don't worry that it's not laying properly yet. You're going to turn it around and you're going to open up those pieces and lay them down flat. And then you'll flip it back over, line it up, voila! Alright, here's how it turned out. You know, it got a little tricky there at the end trying to figure out how to make those holes. Hopefully you won't have as much trouble as I did. But that is it. Awesome. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. And if you would like to show me how yours turned out, you can send it to me at youth@newlenoxlibrary.org. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you soon at the library.